Okay, so here's the directory structure for Angular to-do app, and what we are going to do right now is make two components right now. Let's make a folder for to-do input, and inside the folder we need to have three components. Yeah, to-do input dot component or ts. The convention is to write component with each and everything and to build three files for making this .html and another for to do input and css, right? So this is basically what the directory structure is and the convention is. And let's make another folder as we have discussed, like we need to have two child components to do list dot component not css, yeah, to do list dot component dot ts for TypeScript, and to do input input dot component dot html, right? So we have these three structures, these two components, right? And what we are going to do right now is let's write something over here that we may know that our component is rendered when the app component in to do input component is working. So that'll be our message for that. And let's do the same thing for this as well. For this we need to do is to do, sorry, this is the TypeScript file. Let's do to do h1 tag and to do list is working as well, right? So this is going to be to do input and to do list, right? And we need to have a TypeScript file for this as well. Okay, we need to write TypeScript file for this. Now let's try to do input component node ts. It'll have logic for the program. Any sort of logic should be written over here. The component at the rate of component declaration should have a styles URL, a selector, and a template URL. So let's try to do input.component.html. We need to export this component with the name of to do input and extends component. Now, extend component will work only in React. We need to do that in Angular. We just need to write export class to do input. Export class to do input component. Let's just copy this and paste it in our to-do list component. Let's change this input into list. Change this as well to to-do list component. I think this should work fine right now. And another thing is we need to add this in our app module in the declarations property. We need to add to do input component and to do list component. So let's Start adding this. Any components that has been declared needs to be in app module. Now we have this. Let's delete this from scratch and let's fill this up. We also need a CSS for this. If you want to look into styles, you can. I'm just going to copy paste it over here in case if you want to see it, it'll be available. I'll give this the link to the whole code in the description as well. Let's write. It should be a container of to we are going to use flex for this to justify the content and center to center and line the to do app angular. Let's write app to do input. This app to do input was the selector for the component, so we can write this and angular would know which component I'm talking about. Let's see if this works right now. Alright, so I've made some typo mistakes. Right, in to do component input component. This should have been CSS. Yes, simple error. The same error in to do list as well. Let's change that and into CSS. This should work right now. Oh, alright, I have made another mistake. To do list dot component. Alright, I found the error. This should have been to do list dot component dot html. Since we are using the to do, we are inside the to do list component, and it's working right now. It's perfect. Now we can move on to the next framework. This should be a simple boilerplate right now for a to do application for Angular. Let's move on to React. So we need to add components, two child components over here as well. Let's make a new folder of to do input. To do input. React will need only two files, unlike Angular which needed three files. To do input.css and to do input.js. Let's make another component to do list for React as well. To do list.js and to do list.css. Let's just work on styling, copy pasting the styles first. The index.css, which are all global styles, we'll copy paste our global styles. And copy the styles in app.css as well. Right. To do input.css as well over here as well. So the files are different, but the styles will remain the same. So we need to make a functional component that won't be we won't be needing component because we are just going to make a functional component over here. React has different approach for using components, a functional component and a container. In a functional component, the app does not change the state of the application, and we can pass stuff from parent by using props, and we can send stuff to parent by using props as well. So in React, the components work like this. Let's write a simple to do input is working. Export the to do input. Export default to do input. My bad. Alright. Export default to do input. Let's do the same thing in to do list as well. Let's just copy it and paste it over here. Change to do list into to do input into to do list. If you are unsure how am I changing this at the same time, you can use Command D in Mac OS for doing this. In the app.js, now we need to remove this and simply paste the stuff we want to two child components. Let's make a header over here. App component is working. Let's just delete the logo.svg since we don't need it anymore. Command D should do it. Import to do input from to do input. Right. Import to do list from to do list to do list. Right. And I should copy paste it over here, and I think this should work. To do input to do list. Maybe missing a bracket. Right. So in JSX we need to write this inside a parent container, and or it won't work. That's how React is. There are workarounds to this, but I'll just write it in a parent container, and you can see it's unused. Let me show you first how this shouldn't work, because in React another thing is you need to the first letter needs to be capitalized in order for this to work. Just capitalize it, the first letters, and use it that way. It should work right now. Yeah, let's check it out. Yeah, it's working right now. So you need to capitalize those first letters in React, or else it won't work. Alright, I think we are done with React. Now let's start doing the same thing for Vue as well. In the source directory, we have components. Let's delete this. We won't be needing hello world.vue over here. And the first thing to do is work on styles. Let's copy paste our styles first, or let's just make the components first. Let's just make the components first, and then we'll copy paste the styles over here. So to do input, to do dash input, and the view will use only one file. So to do input dot view, we will have extension of view, and view contains HTML, CSS, and JavaScript all in one file. So that's one difference in all frameworks. And another difference is two-way data binding in Vue in Angular, but one-way data binding in React. Right, so we need to write HTML in the template tag. Template should be, for now, to do input is working. and a scripts tag in which we can write all JavaScript stuff, and a styles tag in which the scope should be true, and a styles in scripts export default name. Default name should be a property of this, and to do input should be the selector's name, right? And the same thing goes for the to-do list as well. Just need to change input into list. Let's work on this stuff. Right, so I need to change the styles first. Let's just copy paste the styles over here, and in view it's a bit different. You need to import the styles, the main global styles in main.js first, and then it should work. So let's just make a file of index.css, sorry, copy paste that, and import it over here in order for the global styles to work. Index.css, and let's just copy paste the styles as well. So in app.view we just need to copy paste the whole styles over here as well, and the styles one, the scoped should be just scoped, right? So we don't need to write scope true, and let's copy paste this as well. It should be scoped as well. Copy paste it. Alright, we are finished with our styling this, and let's just import our components. Import to do input. Let's just remove this as well. We don't have a hello world anymore, so to do input from to do input from to do input uh, to do, alright, components to do input and to do input. We paste it, and the same for to do list as well. And let's just finish this up. Copy paste our own stuff. Instead of this, to do app view is working. To check it out, let's just remove this, add to do input over here, add to do list, to do list over here as well, and use, right, so we can use the selectors for it that we have named it. So to do input, not the selectors but the imported class, right, and to do list. Now I think this should be done and should be working right now. Alright, it's working fine right now. We are finished with our Vue, React and Angular, building a starting boilerplate for our next part, in which we are going to make the components and work on application more.